What's up, guys? We have another game with the black pieces against Ronald Rodriguez, 1758, but provisional, so maybe much higher. He aborted the game. Okay, you better run. That's what I thought. So now we have a different game against a higher rated player, Al Qadazi, 006. Opens up with e4. Doesn't take control of the whole center, um, which is interesting. That I'm still going to attack his pawn in the center and develop a piece. Okay, he defends the pawn with the knight. I'm just gonna throw my pawn in the center since he's letting me. And now he's gonna strike with d4 after the fact. This of course just allows me to take, and I kinda have no problems. So that's always fine. Um I'm just gonna take. I'm gonna take his pawn so he doesn't have control over this stuff. He takes with his knight, not really threatening anything. Now this whole diagonal's open. You could fianchetto, but your dark squares are also weak to an extent. So I'm just going to simply put my bishop here and castle. Very simple chess. This is not playing for an opening advantage or anything like that. So bishop e3. What does it threaten? It's just a basic developing move. Drawback. Gets off this diagonal, but there's nothing, I can't use that right now. I see no reason not to castle, so let's get it out of the way and we can continue developing. White goes here, but it's not like I fianchettoed my bishop and he has that battery. So he's not actually threatening anything. Maybe he just wants the long castle. Fine. So I should just continue developing. That seems logical. I'll just start by bringing up my other knight to its most natural square, attacking the center. He long castles. What does this threaten? Nothing. It's just a developing move. Drawback. No real drawback. It's just an opposite side castling game now, so time is of the essence as far as attacking. So I'm actually going to go a6. Not only does it take away the square from 3 pieces, but it more importantly prepares b5 and b4. So he goes h6, similarly preparing his own pawn thrust, and that's fine. We get started first, but that would hang this knight, so we have to do something about that. We can trade. Okay, we're going to trade just because it comes with a tempo, meaning he has to take back. So we take his strong knight in the center. This is defended, so no big deal. And this is a mistake, so don't do that because it weakens your d pawn too much. We're going to continue with our plan b5. If we get to play b4, the knight will undefend the pawn. And he probably doesn't want to lose that pawn. So he defends the pawn so that if I kick the knight, everything's fine. But I can now develop my bishop. I can develop it here. I can develop it here. I can develop it anywhere, actually. If I go here, he'll just defend this pawn again, let's say with a rook. And, you know, what's the point really? So I'm going to go this way and look at both diagonals. I'm going to eye this pawn, so now if I push, his pawn's a little tender. He takes my knight. Doesn't threaten anything, I obviously have to recapture. And now we have the bishop pair. So he hops his knight in the center. What does this threaten? It threatens to take back that bishop pair. Ideally I would keep it, but I mean, you would want to go here and pin his queen, but this walks into this. So to avoid the trade, I guess you can go, if you go here, he can take this one. If you go here and he goes here, I don't know if you can avoid it. I mean, if you go here, he kicks it. Yeah, you can't really avoid it. That's fine. What are you gonna do? So, what should I do in that case? If I take his knight and he takes back, that opens up his bishop. I mean, it's not particularly amazing. If I push it and he takes it and I take it, then this pawn is a little weird. Is this a move? It looks wrong. It looks terrible, actually. But I wish it was a move. Is there no way to save this bishop? If I really want to go here, but if he takes a pawn, I can counter pawn check him. So maybe that does work. Whatever. If it doesn't work, we're going to lose a piece. If it does work, his king is going to be exposed. And if he doesn't move his bishop, we have the other diagonal to retreat. Okay, so he doesn't do that because I've had that tactic. He simply attacks it, but now we can retreat safely and soundly to a7, let's say. And our position's still nice. Bishop pair. He pushes f4, threatens to gain more space. Drawback is weakens the dark squares. If I take this knight and he takes and I get this bishop here, that's a pin. So I could set that up and make a good move at the same time with the rook over, which would coordinate with this bishop once I take the knight and the pawn moves. So if he goes here, which looks extremely natural and tempting, he's going to lose a piece or his queen. So hopefully he does it. Hopefully he does it. He does it. Haha. Thank you, Al-Qadazi. 006. I will take your piece and I will pin your queen and arigato. And that's how a 1780 plays. Predictable blunders. Overall solid, but predictable blunders. So I'm simply gonna develop my queen while aligning this, aligning this. He moves his king, which is a waste of time. We naturally just double up. We don't care about the pawn. We want to get all 20 points of our material doing something. If we include our rook, the strength of our position goes up by, let's say, 5 power. If we remove his pawn instead of moving our rook, let's say his position goes down by 1 or 2 power. Which one is more, net gain? So he pushes the pawn. This isn't a thing. He doesn't have a queen, so it doesn't matter what my king looks like. And also, if you take this pawn, you're setting yourself up for problems for no reason. So don't do that. Just to show you an example, you can just push past, right? And he doesn't have a queen to use on this square, and his rooks can never get there. So now he's just throwing everything away. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you can take it, you cannot take it. I'm not going to take it because it opens lines, and I'm up enough material. So I push the pawn. And I want you guys to notice that a lot of you would be taking the pawns. Notice that you don't need the pawn. Drop a queen. Every pawn you take opens up his rooks for him, right? No point. This, not a threat. He can get it here, not a threat. What's he hanging? His bishop. Because I moved my queen here. He didn't ask himself, what's the threat? So he loses a bishop. So he avoids the trade because he's down material. This allows me to infiltrate, however I see fit. It is important to note you would get mated if his rook could get there, but it can't. He takes the pawn, but nobody cares. And okay, he tries to use the open file, but he would need to be double stacked, and I'm the one who's double stacked. He still has to go one, not there, but here. The only available square would be here, and then he would try to do this. But I mean, this is coming, and then wherever his king goes, I have the queen check on this rank, and that's going to lead to a checkmate. With just the two rooks, it would be a perpetual. Notice, you need the queen to finish the mate. So let's give that check, because his moves don't matter. And now we can give this check. He has to go here. And now you can give this checkmate, or a cooler checkmate, because your queen... Oh, that's not even checkmate, never mind. Almost just hung my piece. We'll go for this one. This one looks pretty. Okay, that was a pretty smooth, kind of easy game. So, yeah, whatever you take, you take. It's a normal game, nothing crazy. We go through this. So what's like the best way to start the attack, let's say? Oh, they just want to hunt the bishop. I actually considered hunting the bishop, but I figured he would just go here for the time being. And if we take, what's the follow-up? I don't really see the point to that. So what are the other moves? Rook E8, rook B8. I considered rook B8, but you still can't play. Oh, I guess you're just sacking the pawn. I was gonna play this and then go rook B8, but yeah, the other order's better. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So he would have had to take. They say that that's why if he takes and I take, I don't have the pawn storm, but I have an open B file. I don't see how that's good at all for white. Okay, so now, yeah, I played it as suspected. Everything's good. Now you have the opportunity to go c5 because once he moves, there's c4, and b4. Still a little weird because of this pawn's weak, but he did put his bishop in the way, so. Okay, so everything's cool, everything's kosher. This is just a normal game. We're trading pieces. I did find this move. He did find this move. I just moved away. It's nothing to worry about. It's just a normal game. And then right here, so it was 15 moves of back and forth, very solid chess, good decision making from both sides. And then he just blunders this, which loses the queen. So yeah, there's nothing really to question, I suppose, other than they don't want this because they think this. So I don't get why this is like +1. Even if he solidifies, my plan would be something like, what would I play naturally? I'd put a bishop, well, he did play f3, so maybe I would put a bishop here. If he played f4, I wouldn't. And if he starts his pawn storm, my knight has this square, so I would feel comfortable. I'd want to get my queen in. Maybe that's why. Maybe because this pawn blocks the c pawn and your queen can't get in easily. And you would have to do this and this. That would entice me to move my queen before my rook because this pawn's in the way. If he hits me, I'd do something like this. If he continues, I'd move my queen up to make room for my rook. Does it get trapped here? No. If he kicks it, I'd just go back here, let's say. And of course, I'm not calculating. I'm just trying to move naturally to see like what kind of position arises. Of course. Oh, is this trapped? Yeah, you can't do that. Although it's trapped no matter what. Yeah, so you can't move your queen in. Alright, so that's an interesting thing that now I'm gonna think about. Doubling the pawns, although it opens the b file, you have to make sure your queen can get in first. Okay, cool. I learned something. Hopefully you did too. Submit your Rapid Games. Good luck.